Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another special edition of the Wrestling Course, where we're going to watch a bunch of death matches. As this is episode 2 of me actually doing it. I'm your host, Julian, and I got a very special guest here today. Don Tony here, been in the game for almost 25 years, and now he's right here in the trial with me. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Julian. How you doing?
I'm wide awake. Caffeinated.
All right. I'm excited about this because one of the two death matches that you're going to show, I actually not only was there, but I had a front row seat at the timekeeper's table. And first night I ever did any work for XPW. So I'm going to share a couple of personal stories, what the atmosphere was like, things that transpired that night, and what actually led to a lot of controversy afterwards. State Athletic Commission, TNA, WWE, XPW, CZW, Ring of Honor, a lot of little stories that, some of you out there may not know.
But right now, let's get to what we're here for. We're going to watch 2 death matches of XPW. Last week, me and a few others was watching one, and I got to tell you, it was Concussion City with that one, and I will probably never watch that again. This week, we're going to watch 2. We're going to start with one of them where you was at. It was in August of 2002. It was Supreme versus Angel. So I'm going to share my screen right now. And let me
before you share it, let me just tell everybody a little quick story. How I even ended up at the announcers table. This is a quick story. I've been doing wrestling stuff since '97. Started out with hotlines, then it turned into podcasts. Did a little indie wrestling, as manager, just bullshit stuff locally. I mean, I don't want to try to put any legitimacy in it, but my hotline was the #1 wrestling hotline in the country. ECW in 2000 left me a message on my hotline that they wanted me to push tickets for the Hammerstein and everything else. And, in return, I got a little money back, got to sit front row, got to hang out backstage with ECW, everything great. So now XPW is coming to the Northeast. And Shane Douglas actually had requested that I do bus trips for the XPW because he had heard that I had done bus trips with indie stuff, this and that. So I organized for this is Hostile Takeover. This is the first ever XPW event in the ECW arena. At that time, CZW, Ring of Honor were all at 3PW, all irate because the ECW arena signed a lease with XPW that they're the only wrestling show that could be in that building. So Hostile Takeover is coming, and you got PWBTS.com and all these other jerks sending flyers around the neighborhood that porn is coming to your neighborhood, and they're trying to do everything they can to shut the place down. We're not going to get into the controversy with some wrestlers who were kicked off of Ring of Honor because they worked XPW, but long story short, I did the bus trips, and I ended up having almost 160 or 170 people go on my bus trips for the first event. And I'm sitting front row and I'm excited, this and that. Literally about 20 minutes before the show starts, guy that worked for XPW that I answered to, he's like, you want to do timekeeping? I'm like, I never did timekeeping before. He's like, it's not hard. You ring the bell, this and that, this and that. You got State Athletic Commission there, you got the announcers. He's like, come on. He's like, you want to work for XPW or not? He's like, do this tonight and this and that. So I'm like, great, cool. I don't have an XPW shirt or anything. I'm wearing some polo shirt or whatever. He throws a shirt at me. It's the shirt I'm wearing right now. This is the shirt they gave me that night. And at that time, it was too tight. You'll see my breasts popping out a little bit. And I literally hopped the guardrail and went to the timekeeper's table, and this event happened. And about a fourth or a third of the way into the show, we get Supreme defending the deathmatch title against Angel, the hardcore homo. And you will see me at the timekeeper's table, and I'll share a couple little stories as the match goes along. But when you see me at the table, that's how this all began. And the rest is history.
The first time I ever heard about XPW was when they tried to invade ECW. That's when I first heard about it, but I did not actually see the promotion up until that Messiah incident on America's Most Wanted. I was like, my God, this is crazy.
Yeah, that was insane. I mean, look, in hindsight, I don't think it had anything to do with XPW or Lizzie Borden or anything like that. There was a lot of rumors that he and Lizzie Borden may have been an item. It wasn't the case. It's just, look, you mess with the wrong people, and Lord knows what happens. Obviously, it wasn't a robbery attempt. It wasn't random. He had done something wrong. He had wronged someone to the point where people were hired. They cut his thumb off, and that sent a message. I mean, honestly, the only people that will ever know the truth is Messiah, the people who were hired, and the person who hired them. And there's been a lot of speculation to this day. I always heard pretty good things about Messiah, but Messiah was not obviously part of the East Coast invasion because of what had happened. But I was always a fan of XPW because it was like another version of ECW. And people need to understand, we're going back to 99, 2000. This is right around Girls Gone Wild. Jerry Springer's in full blown. UFC is pretty new still. Everything is Renegade, Attitude Era. So it just fit perfectly. That Dark Side of the Ring episode was garbage.
I know you didn't like it, but I loved it.
Oh, no. Look, for spiciness and tabloid, it was great. But you watch this first ever death match in the ECW arena, and as people are watching it, just pay close attention to the fans and how they're reacting. In 2002, Deathmatch and CZW, things like that, it was still an outcast in the world of pro wrestling, but it wasn't Dark Side. I mean, if you're going to go Dark Side, I mean, there's crazy stories you could say even about TNA. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to throw any out there. I'm just saying that it was more accepted than you think. If XPW was such an outcast, if it was so dark and it was so awful, then explain to me how almost 200 people are on my bus trip and how that place got filled to the rafters and, had a pretty good role. But unfortunately, 2003, they shot themselves in the foot a little bit too much and they ruined it.
Along with Rob Black challenging the FBI.
Yeah, I mean, that honestly was carelessness more than anything. I met Rob Black a few times. I always thought Rob Black was a cool guy. Look, it's porn. It's some of the adult entertainment that he was in was pretty gross. I mean, it's pretty wild to be sitting in my hotel room with like Veronica Kane and a few others, and they're hanging out in sweatpants, laughing, nice, just really, really down to earth. You would think that they would be a next door neighbor. And I'm not saying that they're outcasts. Then, you get, somebody in XPW like, hey, you want a couple of videos? And here I'm thinking I'm getting XPW videos, but here it is, and I'm not going to say what those videos were, but, I'm all for a little bit of nudity and sex, but some of the stuff that was given to me, I was like, okay, a little bit extreme. They definitely took it to the extreme.
All right, with that out of the way, let's get to the match. This is August 31st, 2002. I would play the audio, but this has commentary behind it. So if everyone's going to listen to this right now, go on YouTube, search this up. It's the first thing on the search bar. It's Supreme versus Angel, as DT just said, Hostile Takeover, August 31st, 2002 in the ECW Arena. Let's get ready to watch some wild shit, man.
This was awesome, man. This was awesome.
And you were there for this.
I have said this, that, that night, I actually had an incident at the hotel where XPW was staying, and it was such a bad incident that the hotel told XPW, you're not welcome again at our hotel. And one of the things that I remember that night is Supreme sitting in the lobby with pair of glasses on, and, quiet. Yeah, quiet, and just really, one of the nicest people you would ever expected in wrestling. Angel as well. Angel, very, very nice guy. I mean, it's pretty wild to look back at this and realize the crazy shit they were doing. So there I am all the way on the, well, you can't see it right now, but you'll see me on the right by the announcer's table. And, you know, like I said, this is the first time I'm actually doing work other than promoting it and doing the bus trips and everything like that. And I'm getting a first, you know, hand account of this. Now you look at the fans were loving it. I mean,
they're looking at somebody right now. It seems like someone's getting kicked out or something.
Yeah, somebody was getting thrown out of the building. I will say this. You did have people from CZW and 3PW that were trying to have fans disturb the events and try to, you know, disrupt it. So there was a crazy amount of animosity at that time. I mean, if anybody out there, you go to Wayback Machine, just type in the website pwbts.com or .org. Just go back to, you know, August 2002 or July, and you will see they were obsessed with trying to stop XPW from coming to this area. See on the right, the dark-skinned man with the dreads, that is Smoked Out, who I used to do a hotline with. You'll see him right there with the white sweatshirt next to the girl with the red shirt with the bandana. That is Smoked Out, wrestled for CZW. A lot of CZW wrestlers in attendance, and they were having a great time.
You know, DC,
not there to disrupt.
I'm watching this, and I've watched the original ECW. I'm wondering, did they use the same camera crew from the original ECW on XPW for this arena show?
Yeah. I don't know if it was Dan Cole, but Slash and myself, a day or two after this event, we went to Westchester and we went into the basement. Yeah, right now they're just teasing the weapons. You know, yeah, we got light tubes everywhere, barbed wire, and insane stuff. But I went to Westchester because, for a lot of people that don't know, when they went to channel, I don't know if it was 44, whatever it was, where they were going to air XPW episodes in Philly, they had no way of getting the tape to the TV station in time for it to air the next day. So myself and this guy Slash, we would drive every Monday after the show and deliver the tape in person to Philly. I live in Queens, New York, but we went to one of the producers, the cameraman, to his house in Westchester, and we went to his basement. Same guy who did the ECW stuff. I thought I was on hallowed ground. It was surreal to watch this man produce, edit in real time, and make the tape up for XPW. I was very, very honored to be part of this. You know, it really, really pissed me off at that time because there was a lot of good people that worked in this promotion. And I've always said this before, we'll see some little teasing of hardcore any moment, you know, over the barbed wire, just to tease it, you know, a little taste.
Yeah, I'm asked because if you were to take out the banner, you would not tell it was XPW. You would literally think it was ECW being filmed here.
Yeah. If everybody looks on the lower right-hand corner, I'll show you again. You'll see a man with long hair. He looks almost like the guy from Meatloaf. That was Mike Frigerio, who passed away last year. A good friend of mine. He was the representative that would get Damien 666, La Parka, Halloween, and others able to wrestle for XPW, and even Frank Goodman's USA Pro. I actually got Mexico's Most Wanted in USA Pro. They took on Jimmy Snooker and Sabu as a fantasy match, which I've shown on my shows, all the wrestling magazines. All right, here we go. Bye-bye. There we go.
So his head went face plant right into those tubes, but it didn't break.
Yes.
My God.
Yeah. A little, some people may call it a botch because they didn't see dust, but it's still, he went head first right into the tubes, and Supreme loved this shit, man. He got off on this shit.
He is lucky to not break on his face or through his eyes.
Yeah, I mean, wonderful, wonderful man. I mean, taken from us way too soon, but just very, very respected. I mean, amongst people who are into deathmatch hardcore, you know, not everybody was into him, but here's where it starts getting a little crazy. A little teasing.
So Angel did a drop kick on the ring to Supreme. Now he's going to run the rope. Oh my God. Oh
yeah, he's
crap.
gonna fall. He like falls backwards himself, and he gets caught on the barbed wire a little bit. And the one thing that's funny is, I mean, when they go through the light tubes, you're setting the first couple of ropes. Here, you'll see it right now. You'll watch my face reaction to this.
I'm watching it on the right corner right now.
Yeah, you'll just it's coming up.
Oh, there you are.
There I am. There you go. Right into the bar. And there I am. Look, you'll see in my hand. I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at?
Dude, you didn't even flinch, man.
Yeah. And then he does the elbow drop as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And and the fans love it. I mean, when the light bulbs were exploding, there's dust from the bulbs all everywhere. Everybody, they loved it. They freaking loved it.
How old was Angel at this point? He had to be at least 21 or 22.
I would say he was in his maybe early to mid 20s. He was probably, I mean, I'll look it up after as far as his age, but I would say he was somewhere 23 to 25. The guy took the craziest bumps, man.
Just like right now when he got suplexed into these light tubes.
Yeah, and he cracks one over his head.
Oof.
And Supreme, he turns around, he's laughing, he's having a good time. And me on the right, I'm just like, yeah, I'm not like feeling comfortable right now.
Yeah, let me get away from the murder scene.
You know, the worst thing I ever saw live was John Zandig for CZW getting hung on meat hooks. And he took on Messiah that time too. But yeah, there's the rubber chicken.
Hold on,
that is Joe.
Hold on for a sec. Actual meat hooks?
Yeah, actual meat hooks. That's definitely a match you definitely want to cover in the future. It is gross. It is gross. It happened for CZW. And one thing I always tell everyone when you watch that video, just pay attention to how few people are in that building. And he turned off so many people, they were not having it.
So they bring the light tubes on a board in the ring. I believe that's a board.
Yes. So right now they're brawling a little bit. Now there's a little controversy coming up soon. The Angel was gushing. I mean, really busted open badly.
Imagine his outfit, his wrestling attire.
Yeah, it's like pajamas, you know, because remember, he's the hardcore homo, and people always associated pink, with homosexuality or, with women. So that's the reason why he wore the pink. I mean, whatever,
So Supreme just picked him up. Let's see what's about to happen here. Looks like it's going for a
powerbomb. And look at everybody with the dust.
Oh my Jesus Christ.
And nobody moved. The fans are like, yeah, give it to me. Now he cracks it over his head.
Cracks it over his head.
He tries to do the X symbol and it breaks it. I remember the X symbol. Yeah, and he cracks it. It's like more dust.
Dude, when I used to work at Google years back, there was times where I had to change the light bulbs. Oh my God. Oh, right over the ad.
Yeah, here's a controversy.
This is it. Okay.
This is controversy. They're going to brawl into the women's bathroom. Now, what some asshole did was they called the state athletic commission and they claimed that the daughter of one of the members of the state athletic commission was in one of the stalls at the time, and two men bleeding profusely went into the women's bathroom. See that stall that's closed? They claim that she was in there. It's a lie. They made sure that there was nobody in the bathroom when this went down.
Oh my God.
But somebody said that the daughter of one was there. And as a result, after this event was over, they had an emergency meeting at the State Athletic Commission where representatives from NWA, TNA, WWE, Ring of Honor, CZW, 3PW, XPW, and others, they all had to go. And the State Athletic Commission was going to change the guidelines, no blood in Pennsylvania, no blood whatsoever. I mean, eventually
after that, there was no more blood anywhere, was it?
They still allowed it, but it was, this was all being designed to try to stop XPW from getting momentum on that chair shot was vicious. And
I thought I'd seen enough of that last week.
This is one of the craziest spots that I ever saw, only because he just went through the table like it was a piece of paper.
Didn't Terry Funk got hung through there one time, or Tommy Dreamer?
The doubles tape, the scaffold match, him versus Brian Lee. Brian Lee went through the table. Well, Tommy Dreamer went through tables as well, choke slammed, through multiple tables, but this was crazy. He has a hard time getting Angel up the first time.
Oh my God. So he's about to
power bomb him. And then he's like, fuck it. He just throws him.
Oh, damn, man.
Yeah, he went through it like it was just paper. He was just covered in there, and he goes
another angle there.
That was crazy, man. It was crazy shit. I mean, we all ran over to watch it also.
I am surprised his tailbone wasn't broken from that, but I used to see a lot of those light tubes in Google, and I used to change some of them. There were a few times that they broke, and I just thought to myself, I better not get in trouble here.
Yeah. And Supreme, he's just nonchalantly like climbing down the thing, and he goes up to him and he pins him. And
1, 2, 3. Match is over. A lot of blood. Hepatitis City right here.
Insane. That's Atlas Security there. Atlas Security also did the events. The one thing that was awesome is no fights as far as fans. There was a couple of disruptors, but it was a fun atmosphere. The crowd enjoyed. I mean, it even got an XPW. Yeah,
so there is carried out the ring, and not out the ring, but he's getting carried out from where the spot happened. I believe his tailbone was broken.
Yeah,
I don't know if it is.
That's my friend Bob that used to do all the custom championship titles. He was not an XPW employee. He was just willing to, help him to the back and everything. So that was a wild night, man. It was wild, and it was surreal to see it happen in person. But I will tell you, if anybody goes back and watches that with sound, unedited, you look at the fans, everybody was having a ball. They even got an XPW chant. First, they got an ECW chant earlier in the night. And I guess during
it was expected.
Yeah. Then between one of the matches, I don't remember who came out, but somebody was like, this is XPW. This is not ECW. If you chant XPW, and then that's when they started getting the XPW chant. Fans loved it. Fans had fun. I mean, I made money because every bus trip that I did for their shows in Philly, we would sell 3-4 buses at a time. And, then they gave me a lot of creative freedom to like try to get as many people to the shows. There was one time we had Tammy Sitch and Chris Candido, God rest his soul. They showed up on the buses, just hung out with the fans. Daphne, God rest her soul, Vic Grimes. They just, it was a lot of fun. And it's a shame that there was such a vendetta to get them out of Philly. And then Rob Black, with the situation with the FBI, he pretty much did everybody a favor, because they probably would have succeeded a lot longer in Philly if that incident didn't happen. But, it's just amazing that it's already 20 years. It's 20
You were there, and you stood there for the whole show. What was the locker room like after all these matches happened, and after all the dust settled with all these weapons and blood and injuries? What was the locker room like after all this?
That night, I could tell you a couple of things I remember right off the bat. Number one, there was a crazy amount of controversy because the main event was Terry Funk against Shane Douglas. And there was an incident where they brawled outside the building. And I was at the timekeeper's table. I saw it within a couple of feet of it. They come back in from inside the building, and I see this guy Slash, who, got me in there, and I was friendly with at the time, and he's looking at me and he's like, and I'm like, what happened? And Terry Funk goes back in the ring like this, and you see the tendon of his arm. I mean, for some reason, he broke a legitimate beer bottle outside the building. And, sometimes, they'll do things to themselves, to cause a little blood, visual. And for some reason, he sliced his own arm up. It was not an accident. He sliced his own arm, and his tendon is sticking out. I think he pretty much almost got into shock over it. He pile drives Lizzie Borden in the middle of the ring and pulls her panties down. You don't see anything, but he still pulls her panties down. So
Oh
now
my
you
God.
just imagine the incident with Angel and Supreme in the bathroom. And then later on, a porn star's panties gets pulled down in the middle of the ring. After the match was over, I always remembered Shane Douglas in the back throwing chairs, very concerned for Terry Funk. But at the same time, why did he do this? It's not necessary. So Terry Funk, they put him out in an ambulance. Everybody's concerned for him. And, the three things is Terry Funk's injury, what happened with Lizzie Borden, and the brawl in the bathroom. But once we got back to the hotel, in the lobby, you see Supreme. I think he had headphones on, just reading something quiet. Angel later on, almost as if nothing happened. Some of us went out to eat. It was a fun atmosphere. There really was not any, I mean, honestly, all that negative attempts to shut down XPW, I think it brought that roster together even more, because I've told the story too. The next event, or the one after, it happened to be Lizzie Borden's birthday. And I remember it clear as day that, someone said, let's surprise her. And me / and some other guy, we went, picked up a Carvel cake for her. And ECW Arena felt like it was 10 degrees. There was no heat. This was the day before the event. And everybody hid. And she showed up for whatever reason. And, everybody surprised her and said, happy birthday. I mean, I didn't know most of these people. So I just stood on the sidelines and watched. But, she's crying and everybody's hugging and everybody is looking out for each other. I mean, of course, the locker room was not this, everybody do drugs and everybody have sex and everybody go wild. And no, it just, everybody, seemed to get along. Everybody had fun. I mean, I told the story once, I was in one of the hotel rooms. I'm standing outside of Rob Black's door waiting to get some money for something. And I don't want to say the wrestler's name because, I know it was told publicly a couple of years ago, but I don't know if he's married now or anything. But there's a particular former ECW wrestler.
Right.
I'm standing outside Rob Black's door and he runs down the hall wearing pretty much nothing and just ran up and down the hall. And I had told the story at the time, and I walked past another room, and I don't want to say the girl's name. I might get it wrong, but I know she went by something Ho. I don't know if it was GI Ho or whatever, but you walk by this other door and the hotel room door is open and she's laying on the bed in a negligee outfit because she's about to get busy with someone. But he'd laughing up a storm. Everybody having fun, just nobody was trying to cause trouble. And I told this story too. One time in my hotel room, it was Jerry Lynn, who's now part of AEW. Yeah. And I think it was Kid Chaos. And they just decided to have a chopping contest. And they're in the hotel room and they're just chopping each other until one person couldn't take it anymore. And everybody's laughing. I have a camcorder tape, a camcorder tape that I've never made public. I don't know if I ever will. But one time we were in my hotel room. My room always seemed to be the room that everybody would go in because nobody wanted to screw up their own room. But you got this one just grabbing the camcorder, cutting promos on whatever. This one is doing this. And just having fun, just hanging out, having fun. There was no smartphones at the time. And just a really, really fun times. Really fun.
You got to release that footage on your channel.
I've been seriously thinking about it.
Or have it as like a Patreon exclusive.
There's nothing on there that would get anybody in trouble, but this is how I look at it. When you hang out with people personally, and you are they're out of their element and they're just being regular people, that side, maybe because it's outside of the wrestling environment, that they don't want millions of people to see them in a hotel room, just being down to earth. I mean, seeing Pogo the Clown, he's talking to me about him being a truck driver and Supreme with his construction, and Vic Rhymes is laying on the bed and he's just talking. It's like it was fun moments, but like I said, almost everybody got along with everyone. And I know you're going to lead to this match next. New Jack was never a part of the Northeast XPW. So
West Coast XPW.
Right. He was part of the West Coast. So I interacted with New Jack many times, but it was never within XPW. So, but I've always had my own take about him and Vic Rhymes, and we will see a little of that in a moment.
Yes, I'm going to play that right now. New Jack is going against Messiah. I'm going to share my screen right now, and this is another match. I'm going to
react. This was interesting. I mean, the thing is, at the time, this is 2000, 99, 2000, 2001. And, you really didn't have, like internet pay-per-view and stuff like this. Now, this is a little bit further ahead, but originally what had happened was Sabu was supposed to defend, I believe it was the XPW title against Messiah. And he was injured, sprained ankle, broken ankle. I don't even know if that was the case. I don't know if he just no-showed, but Josh Lazy came out with the title, and everybody thought it was going to be Messiah, I think, against him. New Jack surprised everybody, and New Jack came out, and it ended up being New Jack versus Messiah. So I don't know if this is that same match, but we had a couple of run-ins take place after. One thing about New Jack and XPW is I never really looked at his work as sort of deathmatch. I always looked at it more as hardcore.
Yeah, I always looked at his matches as brawls. He brings the weapons to the ring, does the brawls. I never seen him as a guy who go through barbed wire tables or light tubes or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, he even had his limitations. He wasn't stupid, but see, I know we were originally going to watch a match featuring John Cronus. And John Cronus is another one. I mean, unfortunately, he passed way too soon.
Yeah,
he
did.
He really didn't have as big of a career post ECW as everybody thought. But if you even look at John Cronus in XPW, John Cronus wouldn't take the crazy death match spots like we saw with Angel and Supreme. He'd be on the opposite side of it. So it would, he'd be involved in these matches, but
oh my God.
Yeah, you see Messiah is the one that's taking it. That's the
board with nails.
Board of nails, man. Crazy shit.
Already gushing blood. How many minutes are we into this? Oh, 2 minutes.
Not even 2 minutes. I mean, I know Rob Black used to love bleeding himself. I mean, the funny thing is, like, you see now, like with AEW, you get the Bunny and Penelope Ford and Ty Conti and Allie, and no, that is the Bunny, and they're bleeding, and match of the year. And back in 2000, if you had women bleeding in wrestling, it was this considered awful, disgusting, immoral, pathetic. Like it's just garbage.
Pretty much everything WWE just said a few days ago.
Yeah. This is the match that originally was supposed to be with Sabu. And there's Lizzie Borden. There's Lizzie Borden. This was obviously
the camera zoomed right into her reaction.
Yes, she is very, very concerned. Now it's funny because I don't want to out the person, but there's someone who wrote an article about memories of New Jack and XPW and this and that online, and brought up this match. And the funny thing is, he brings in very detailed about a spot that New Jack's about to do. And the funny thing is that the person who was on the table, he got the person's name wrong. And he kept writing the same wrong name over and over again. I'm like, dude, you didn't saw this. The guy he probably watched the YouTube video once and just decided, hey, let me get a little attention on myself and let me act like, I was there live and in person. But,
Dude, I'm a writer myself, and I've seen too much false shit getting reported for
Oh
years.
God.
It's no surprise to me no more, whether if it's wrestling or in the entertainment industry.
See, honestly, I know some people may call it lazy, but even like hanging out with you right now, I didn't do any preparation. The only preparation I do is I close my eyes and I think back to that night. I think back to the moments that I remember. I think back to why things happened. I think back to, and if you're really there, it all comes back. It comes right back, so it's not that I don't prepare. I mean, obviously I look at it just to remind myself about someone in the crowd or something like that. But, this I remember clearly. I mean, Sabu had some problems at the time. So New Jack filled in.
Ooh. So Messiah just put the crutch on him. Oh wait, is that the crutch? Yeah, it is. What's left of it?
But if you look at the offense, he just bladed himself. But if you look, you see even the barbed wire, it's teased a little bit. It's teased, but it's not on the level of what Supreme would do or Angel or someone like that. New Jack was very, very smart. I mean, he would do hardcore, he would do extreme stuff, but even New Jack say, I ain't doing this. I'm not. Fuck no, I'm not doing this. But he still entertained the shit out of everybody. It's funny. He would do crazy dives 50 feet in the air, but, having some barbed wire wrapped around the head, very few and far between.
This is also one of the rare matches where I see New Jack selling too.
Yes.
It's something I've noticed a few minutes into this match. Oh, staple gun again.
Yes, staple gun to the head.
Oh, damn, good one. Good one right there. And also something I noticed too, the entire floor is not padded.
No, they didn't really. This is California. California,
it's California.
Rules were so much different. I mean, and this is right around the time that Chaos had his death match with Supreme and lit Supreme on fire with, I think, charcoal fluid. And Supreme had serious burns, was in the hospital in very serious condition. And, it's funny, the articles are still online. There's a lot of reaction still from back then. But
that was also on the Dark Side of the Ring episode.
Yeah.
Too.
But what the funny thing is about that? A week after the incident, I remember they did a vignette where I think Chaos was in a park with GQ Money and maybe Veronica Kane. I don't remember if she was there, but they were in a park and simulating like they were going to barbecue. And the internet lost their shit. They're like, how could you joke about someone who said, it's because Supreme and Chaos were related. They knew each other. They loved each other. They were blood. They were family. So Supreme knew very well what they were doing. He freaking got a kick out of it. Everybody online lost their shit. But meanwhile, Supreme is laughing, that, they're doing this skit in the park.
Or in other words, you got worked, brother.
Well, yeah. I mean, the burns were legit. I mean, they used charcoal fluid. Charcoal fluid. That's crazy.
That's something else.
Yeah.
So he hits New Jack on the head with a street sign. Messiah is signaling something up right now. New Jack is taking something out. Oh, he's signaling a steel chair. Rob Black is giving him a chair.
Black. Yep. Rob Black, I will say this. I didn't like him in 2000 because I felt like he was really trying to be Paulie. He dressed similar to him, but Rob Black used to dress like that anyway. But when he came to the Northeast, he was not a character. Move. Yes. He was not a character on video. He wanted to make sure that he was going to be behind the scenes.
That kicked out of 2. And I got a question for you. If Rob Black and Herb Abrams, if he was alive, had a death match, who would win?
Honestly, Rob Black would probably kick his ass. Herb Abrams would probably be so coked up that he wouldn't feel it. And he would be taking crazy shit. But no, I think Rob Black would beat the living crap out of Herb Abrams. Here's the guitar shot.
New Jack with the guitar.
That guitar itself too. That was not one of those very thin,
it wasn't a gimmick guitar. It was
no. That was like a guitar you buy at like some hock shop for $10-20. But
Rob Black and Herb Abrams, that would be something.
Yeah. I give Messiah credit. I mean, Messiah, used to take an absolute beating. But I was never a fan of CZW. But what had happened was, and you definitely want to watch Messiah versus John Zandig, CZW. I promise you that'll probably be the one that you'll be like disgusted with the most out of anything. But, when XPW was coming to Philly in 2002, we were trying to get as much attention to the show. So myself, Timmy Arson, as everybody knows, is the ECW zombie who passed. He was my co-host. Matt Zombie and Brian Damage, we would drive to Philly, go to CZW, and we would flyer everybody's car. So we would just hang out outside, flyer everyone's car, and then we would come inside, and then we would take in the show. And some people enjoyed CZW, that wrestlers, and vice versa. So some people I became friendly with that was CZW wrestlers, we would go to an occasional show just to watch their work, but not as a fan of CZW. And then we walked in, and you see the shit with John Zandig being hung by meat hooks. And
okay, so since that's the second time you mentioned that, I'm gonna have to look at this next week.
Oh, it's disturbing. But if you watch it, you look at the crowd. So many people walked out. They walked out before it. They walked out during it. It was just a ridiculous moment. I mean, people want to belittle XPW for some of the hardcore stuff they did. Where is the dark side of the ring of some of this other stuff out there? They would not dare do with it. A promotion still going.
I think IWA Mid-South needs a dark side episode.
That was pretty wild too. That was pretty wild also.
Good punches here from Messiah. Stomping him out now.
He could wrestle. Messiah could wrestle, but fans, he realized early in his career that fans really were not there. They didn't want to see him just wrestle. They wanted to see him bleed and get hardcore and be ultra violent.
Thought he's going for a clothesline there.
Yeah, this is right close to New Jack's demise. I mean, New Jack put on, he earned his money that night. I mean, he got paid pretty nice. And, but you got to remember this is 2000. Yes. And you think about some of the current state of affairs in 2000. And,
especially since ACW and WCW is about to go under in the near months.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this was more accepted than you think. This is not that much different than some of the wild brawls in ECW. If you really look at the weapons in the ring and everything else, this is not that much different. But because of who was running it, because California was so pretty much anything goes, and the reputation of being very, very sloppy and careless, that was a really nice move.
Good TKO right there.
Yes, you're done. Stick a fork in him. He's done.
Whoa.
He's done. Him. Yes.
1, 2, 3 straight in the middle. So I'm watching this completely blind. So I did not know New Jack took the pin here.
Now you see, here's Supreme.
Here's Supreme with the steel chair.
This is where it turns into a mess with some memorable moments. But yeah, chair to the head.
Chair to the head.
So this is to take the focus off of New Jack. And here's Vic Grimes. We all know the history of Vic Grimes and New Jack.
I'm sure New Jack is not thrilled to see him in the ring.
Yeah, we get some more cameos. No worries, you'll see them coming.
Him out. Now he's choking him with the weapon.
Yep. This is all to get the focus off of New Jack. New Jack was really more there for that spot. And people need to remember too, in 2000, this is pretty much the end, close to the end of ECW. And New Jack, basically not getting the work. This is before he got that stint in TNA. TNA wasn't even around yet. They came out in 2002. WWE was not bringing him in. So this was a needed payday for New Jack. So New Jack, taking the pin and, earning, pretty decent pay that night. But here's where it just goes all downhill.
So Messiah's getting choked out. Blood gushing out still by Supreme, yes.
This is to set up Supreme, for him to start really getting the reign of the king of the death match So
Oh
we
boy.
will have, yeah, we will have some more cameos momentarily.
Is there going to be more run-ins than any typical AEW match now?
It gets pretty wild. There's a memorable spot because New Jack's work is not done yet. Is now, we got the history of New Jack and Vic Rhymes from ECW and that infamous fall.
That's
And New Jack got
very
seriously
fall.
hurt. I will say this. I talked to Vic Rhymes a little bit back in 2002 about some of the stuff that went on with him and New Jack.
Yeah.
I'll never say publicly how he felt about that, but I'll lead to it with something you'll see in a few moments. So they're setting up a table.
Able by the entrance ramp.
Yes. New Jack getting a little bit of revenge on Vic Rhymes. Now, people that don't realize this is before their infamous scaffold match in XPW. This is before that. There's the real guitar.
You see, another thing about the Dark Side episode is they had, I'm gonna pause this real quick. They had concept art of that entire scaffold match. I did not know that.
Yes. They had this all set up. They knew exactly what was going to go down. But this was the funny part. The person who wrote that article I was talking about before, all the person kept talking about is how John Cronus was on the table. And John Cronus, as you see, is not even.
No, but we saw Vampiro just entered.
Yeah, how you mistaken John Cronus with Vic Rhymes is beyond me. But here's Vampiro. And I remember I can't remember the Spanish announcer that with the deep Latin accent, but he was on
the Dark Side also. Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yeah, he's like, they're talking about the deal they got to do later. They're just hanging out, talking. Meanwhile, they're taping Vic Rhymes to the table.
They're making sure he doesn't escape.
Yeah, now Vampiro hits him. And here's where, Rob Black gets a little bit of color. There you go.
Got hit with the belt, he got hit with the belt.
Yep. So now he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slices of pizza to the head. So Rob Black, he's like, hey, am I bleeding yet? So Rob Black is busted open like crazy.
There is Vic Rhymes. To the table. I wonder what's going to happen here next.
It is crazy. Because it may not seem like it's as high as it appears, but it is crazy as high. You see Josh Lazy and Supreme looking up a little bit because they're waiting for somebody to climb, not above the XPW letters, but a little bit higher up. And there is Vic Rhymes.
Top of the stage.
Yep. There is Vic Rhymes hanging out. Again, there's always this perception that New Jack, would have killed Vic Rhymes if he had the opportunity. This table spot is, not the same night as a scaffold. This was a little bit of a receipt. Yeah, there's a little bit of a receipt, but Vic Rhymes was a willing participant of this. This was not against
if New Jack earlier in the day measured the distance from up there to the ground. If not, then that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I was not there. I kind of wish I was. I always wanted to go to an XPW Cali event from 2000 just to see how raw and underground it felt in there. But here is New Jack. He's all the way on top, and people that I've talked to afterwards that claim they were there, they were scared shit. But even New Jack up here, it looks like he's having second thoughts. Yeah.
Well, but you see, like he did measure
him. See him laying right on top of Vic Rhymes, head to head, just laying there. They're checking each other, see if they're okay.
They landed directly on his head. Yeah.
I mean, trust me, New Jack is not in his ear and saying, you're like, good, hope you die, motherfucker. That's not what he was, that's not how it goes down. But again, they have to, New Jack legitimately got permanent injuries from the ECW incident. So New Jack was not happy. Some of this hardcore stuff that he would do, it wasn't a fun time all the time because of the injuries he sustained, but he knew this is how he would be able to make some good money from it. So he did it, and
Couldn't
God
blame him
bless
because
him.
he was half blinded his left or right eye at the time.
Yeah. I mean, you try to jump into a pool with one of your eyes, closed like this, and you kind of like, huh? This guy's going off a fucking top of a building to do it.
Oh my
But,
God. A lot of blood right there on Messiah and Rob Black.
yeah.
We're coming 10 years from Extreme Reunion.
Yes.
10 years,
Yeah.
man.
Hardcore Homecoming. And, even the Hardcore Homecoming, I was, a lot of people notice already, but I was supposed to do the bus trips for that. And it was Mike Johnson from PW Insider that sabotaged all the bus trips. And that was controversial. Johnson. Yeah, because ECW, WWE was doing ECW One Night Stand. And
I went to that one.
Yeah, Jeremy Borash, Shane Douglas, and someone else was going to do Hardcore Homecoming. And, I know some people that know this story already, but they want to do bus trips for this event. So at the same time, Shane Douglas is calling Frank Goodman and say, I need Anthony's phone number. I want him to do the bus trips for Hardcore Homecoming. So again, Shane Douglas reaches out to me. I'm like, yeah, of course I'll do it. Crazy? Of course I'll do it. So I advertise it on my website. I put it everywhere. At the same time, Jeremy Borash is getting in touch with someone else and talks to Mike Johnson, PW Insider, and he says, I want Mike Johnson to do the bus trips. So now we got dueling bus trips. So this is for Hardcore Homecoming. I sent Mike Johnson an email. I still have a copy of it. And I had said to him, look, I know, they reached out to you, but Shane Douglas reached out to me. Why don't we both do our trips? Let's get as many people there and let's have a great time. I got no response.
That way that will both of you could do it at the same time, get as much people there as possible.
Yeah. And I get no response. At the same time this is all going down, I get a legal letter from WWE they're going to sue me because on my website I had ECW Reunion Show. So that's when I went and I trademarked ECW, Eastern Championship Wrestling. I trademarked
the name before Extreme.
Yeah, I trademarked it to use it for the bus trips. So I spend whatever it costs to trademark it. WWE's like, hey, you did the right thing. You could do it as long as you do it that way. So at the same time, I'm trademarking ECW's letters so I can advertise it that way, get as many people there. Right. Here's Mike Johnson on PW Insider actually writes, any other bus trips are not part of Hardcore Homecoming. Oh. And I was like, you know what? And I said, I'm not doing the bus trips. And I didn't do them. I didn't go. I didn't do it. But that just goes to show you the level of jerk-offs out there. I mean, when XPW tried to come to the Northeast, I invite anyone out there, go to Wayback Machine, type in XPW Philly, and just go to the time frame of around early to mid 2002. You see what the articles are written. An obsession. And I'll leave you with this. Wrestling Society X. When that came about, there were a lot of people that were involved in Wrestling Society X that were also involved in XPW.
Yeah, they were.
And to this day, I've always told the story. There's a couple of people that worked for XPW, important areas too. And the same wrestling writers that did everything they could to get XPW kicked out of Philly, these same writers were fawning over Wrestling Society X. The same writers that went through the neighborhood to tell them that porn and everything like that, they're the ones requesting interviews with these same people to plug Wrestling Society X. And one guy to this day, I remember talking to him and he's like, I swear to God, I felt like I had dirty sex. Like I created like the utmost infidelity. This same piece of crap that tried to cause the sabotage the whole XPW promotion is now talking to me in an interview, smiling and everything. He's like, I had to gargle with mouthwash after. I felt so dirty after doing it. It was an amazing time. But as far as this Dark Side of the Ring stuff, like I said, the FBI stuff, no question. Rob Black screwed up. But to try to label the hardcore at that time being so dark side of the ring, where's the CZW?
I know it wasn't your cup of tea, but I would like to see either CZW or IWA Mid-South.
Oh, yeah. If you're going to do the XPW, then they should have included IWA. They should have included CZW. They should have included some of these smaller promotions that was going wild and roughshod. But the problem is, some very popular wrestlers of today, some that are main eventing AEW shows, do have some fond memories of working in that area, growing up in their career. And I don't think they want to be part of something like that. And CZW is still running. It's not the same CZW from before, but, where's everything else? So that it just was very, very cherry picked. And I know Rob Black had an XPW rebirth a couple of months ago. I ordered it, and I don't know. I mean, Rob Black, I give him credit that he takes a position and he stands by it, and he doesn't cave in to anybody. But he's got to realize this is 2022. This is not 2002. In 2002, you had a couple of news journalist assholes that were trying to sabotage them, but the fans still showed up. In 2022, the fans are not going to show up. And, that turnout was very, very poor. And, unless he tries to warm up, and try to commingle with news sites or do some interviews and have some fun instead of doing this, because that's his attitude. He's got a bone to pick with everyone out there, but it's 2022. You don't have those same type of rabid fans like you did 20 years ago. I would love to see XPW, come back and, in a different form and kick ass, but I don't know. I don't see it. I watched it. I liked it, but I'm like, it didn't have an identity. Its identity is gone.
I felt the same way too watching it. I watched it with one of my friends, and I thought to myself, this is not going to go well, because not only that, there's not a lot of people here. The last generation that was here 20 years ago, they're no longer either watching or moved on to something else. And plus, they got a lot of their talent they pulled in, they were from other promotions.
Yeah. Or they watch still, but they grew up. I mean, can't have the 2002 attitude, fuck the world. I did a little bit of, appearances for a promotion here in New York that FTW, not Taz's belt, but there's a promotion. I think it's still around, FTW. I think the promotion's name now is Fight the World. Well, when it first came out for their first or second show, no, it was called Fuck the World. Yeah. But we're going back 15 years probably. So, Fuck the World is not 2022 acceptable like it used to be.
What was it, 2005, 4?
Yeah, you'll get a couple of hardcore fans, but it's not going to be the majority. And that's the thing. Also, you got to adapt with the times. And some promotions have, and the other ones that haven't. There's a reason why they draw next to nothing.
Real quick before we go, Sunny last week, I wasn't surprised. I'm sorry. Yeah. I know you did a lot of digging on that, which is good, because a lot of these reporters out here, they don't credit you.
It's a 25-year thing. I don't care about that anymore. I mean,
I know, but
I realized
journalistic background.
I realized
for
many years, I put stuff out there and people would ignore it. And then I was like, you know what? Imagine if CBS hated NBC, and NBC is the only news outlet that shows up at a scene of some type of incident, and no other news outlet is allowed to go anywhere near it. And you mean to tell me that you're not going to cover it because your rival is somebody you don't like actually covered it? So I'm used to it. I've put stuff out there, and I've even cleared up things, that people have put out there. And I realized there's too many people out there that don't want the truth. They just want to follow certain people. They don't care if they're right or wrong. They just want to follow certain people. Some people don't want to hear the truth because the truth is boring. But the stuff with Tammy, I have a feeling the charges ultimately may be dropped. I have nothing against the guy involved with this, but, I talked over the weekend with a few friends of hers. The guy is not, this innocent altar boy. Nobody deserves to be threatened with their life, but, this is a toxic relationship. And that's the thing people need to understand. It's not a simple bad breakup. It's not as simple where somebody just can't let go. This is toxic. Toxic relationships end up with, just behavior that could get you in a lot of legal trouble. Sonny will probably be arraigned tomorrow. People need to understand when you threaten someone's life in a lot of states, they have to arrest you, even if the other person changes their mind and says, no, I lied. It's not true. This and that. Some states you have to go to jail. The guy may end up dropping the charges, may end up getting an order of protection. The problem where Tammy really screwed up is a week before, New Jersey put a state of emergency back in effect because of Omicron. And in some charges, if you commit a crime, or if you not really commit a crime, you're innocent until proven guilty, but if you are arrested and charged with certain offenses and you are charged during an emergency, state of emergency, charges get upgraded. So when I reported it that night and I said 10 years and everybody else is saying 5 years, well, that's because they are just reading other people's websites. New Jersey, with a state of emergency, that terroristic charge got upgraded from a level 3 to a level 2. So instead of up to $10,000 fine, it's now up to $100,000 fine. But my gut feeling tells me that this guy will probably drop the charges. I'm not saying it's going to happen. We don't know what's in his mind, but people I talked to, it was a situation that got blown out of control. But I really think, and I'm not a doctor, but I've talked to enough people that know her and close to her. I think she needs some interaction with some type of psychiatrist, some type of physician that deals with depression. There's obviously a huge void there. Some of her friends think that is the biggest reason why she has the OnlyFans, because she's got all these people that are, still care and show attention to her. And, it makes you feel good. There is a huge void there. And that relationship is getting to the point, how could someone making that kind of money be willing to throw it all away and risk going to jail for 5 months, 6 months, a year, where you're making 6 digits on OnlyFans simply because you can't let go a relationship that's become toxic? Toxic relationships, unless people have ever been in one or they know someone close that's ever been in one, it takes over your body. You literally...
And spirit and soul.
Yeah. So she needs, I don't even know if was it intervention? I don't even know if an intervention would help at this point. Some people just write it off. She's got to go to jail. How many times she got to go to jail? She could go to jail, go to jail. Jail, sometimes doesn't take care of here. So, there's a lot of people that are very, very concerned because I don't think deep down inside anybody wants to see this turn into a tragedy. But, how many times does this have to happen until it does turn into, the next step? And, it's terrible. It's terrible. Somebody who, in 1995, was just, amazing, and just everybody, and then to see what has happened. I mean, it's not all bad, but when it's bad, it's really bad. That's the problem with Tammy. There's a lot of good, but when there's bad, it's bad. So We'll see what happens.
Oh, great. It was great hanging out with you today, Don Tony.
Much
Go
love.
ahead.
Yeah,
Same here, man.
Yeah, whenever you want to do it again, I'm here. Absolutely.
I got an entire schedule for this month. After the Royal Rumble, I'll probably bring you back for another live
right.
watch.
Watch that Messiah, John Zandig. Just type in Google John Zandig meat hooks. Don't look at the pictures. Watch the video. But like I said, pay attention to the crowd. It's and if you think it's science fiction, like special effects, just watch it.
I will not think it's special effects because they're in front of a live crowd.
Yeah, it's it's not like Big Boss Man when he was in the cage and they simulated that he was hung, but it was actually straps around his chest.
It was under his chest, his protective
chest. You look at this and you're amazed. I'll say this. As ridiculous as John Zandig had become, guy had balls of steel to do some of the things that he did. I mean, you got to have a couple of screws loose, but at the same time, you got to really love what you're doing to be willing to do that. And he did that, for the sake of the storyline and everything but man, that was freaking disturbing to watch.
Not even $20 at a hot dog would convince me to do that.
No, I wouldn't even take a fish hook and wrap it in my finger. And I'm going to, no way.
I see too much shit in Mortal Kombat, man. That's enough.
Yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Thank you so much, DT, for
coming on. Have a good night, my friend.
Thanks. You too. You will be on at 11:05 or 11:15.
11:05, right after Raw. We don't give people even a chance to try to find another podcast to tune into. I literally said the show is guy here in the audio inside. Boom, I'm in here. So we're on 11:05 p.m. Mission I.
Yes, him and Mr. Anthony Missionary Thomas. You can check them out tonight. Breakfast Soup Raw live on. I believe you guys do it on Discord, correct?
No, we do it Discord, YouTube. Sometimes Twitter, Facebook, mostly YouTube. YouTube.com/Don Tony.
All right, no problem. All right, DT, you enjoy your time off for now because I know you gotta get your voice back for tonight.
Yeah, it's all good. XPW. I'm wearing a 20-year-old shirt.
I'm wearing about a 2-month-old shirt now.
Nice shirt.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it makes me think I'm Seth Rollins for some reason. I don't fucking know. Later, DT. Right. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night.
You too. All the best.
All the best.